Another recent action by SWAT officers shows that the war on the poor has been taken to a literal level. Now, I go to an article here in Raw Story. Now, the SWAT team recently raided a family home, and of course, whenever they raid a home with an animal, unfortunately, that animal, in this case, it was a dog, was shot and killed. Now, this family is, of course, suing over this, and according to the lawsuit, the plight of a family, Angela Zorich and her family began at their home in St. Louis County, Missouri, on April 25th of 2014. Now, when county police officers visited the home to shame the family, now what did they do? Well, this family didn't pay one of their utility bills. Now, wait a minute. Why would police visit the home of a family that didn't pay a utility bill? Well, I don't understand the connection here. Well, it turns out, in the city, there are certain statutes that homes must be connected to the grid. And if you fail to pay that, that is considered a civil infraction. So if you don't pay a utility bill to a private corporation, you can now have the SWAT team or police come to your house and publicly shame you. Now, after inspecting the home and receiving a cuss from Zorich's son, you better not disrespect the police, or else you're going to get in trouble. Now, the police fixed a problem property sticker on the exterior of the window. Now, on April 28th, Ms. Zorich called the St. Louis County Police Department to find out what was going on and what they could do to fix this problem. How can I resolve the situation? What can we do? Now, she was told that she was being investigated for 2 violations against city code: failing to have natural gas or electric service. She admitted to not having a gas supply, which it would make sense if she couldn't afford it, as natural gas is still very expensive. If anybody out there has had a natural gas tank, you would know that it's very, very expensive to fill. At least it's traditionally been very expensive. Maybe a little bit cheaper now since we have a glut of natural gas now because of all the fracking. Now, anyway. Now, she said, look, we may not have natural gas, but we have electricity. You can come in, you can schedule another inspection, you can come in our home, you can see that we're not lying to you. Okay, we do have electricity, but we couldn't afford the natural gas yet. Okay, well, according to her lawsuit, that inspection never happened. Instead, St. Louis Police Tactical Response Unit launched a raid on her home. Now, the Riverfront Times gives an overview of this. Now, Zorich reportedly was at home with several family members and her pit bull. Now, when a St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit went through the door without knocking, so no knock raid, the unit has at least 5 officers with M4 assault rifles, supported by at least 8 uniformed police officers. So this is a SWAT unit with 5 officers with M4 rifles and another 8 normal officers. Now, the officers entered so quickly that the dog didn't even have time to bark before a tactical officer fired 3 shots into the dog. 3 shots immediately. The dog was laying on the floor, reportedly in her own waste and blood, struggling to breathe. She had a gaping hole in her chest, according to this lawsuit. Jesus, man. Zorich claims the officers kept trying to talk to her about the natural gas. Oh, by the way, ignore your dying dog over there. We're here to talk to you about turning your natural gas on. Dude, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious? Seriously, she was focused on her dog. This dog who had never shown aggression, in her words, towards any other person. Now, at one point in the raid, she also alleges that an officer pointed his firearm at her son's head and said, "One word, motherfucker, and I'll put 3 in you." Jesus, man. Not only this, but Zorich was cuffed, arrested, and entered into the custody of the local police station, and there were citations issued to her that, of course, what were the citations issued to her? substandard siding, guardrail, screens, window glass, and deck at the family home. So wait a minute. If you have substandard siding, guardrail, substandard screens, and of course if you don't have your natural gas turned on, then the SWAT team is allowed to break into your home, shoot your dog, and kill your dog, threaten your family, and bust through your door. What the fuck? Am I living in America? Is this what America has come to? Aren't we supposed to be free? Isn't it supposed to be the land of freedom? This doesn't seem like freedom. No. This does not seem like freedom. And not only that, man, it's over being not having enough money to turn on your natural gas or your electricity. This is literally a war on the poor. Literally. Jesus Christ, man. That's jeez. According to Kenneth Checks of the Riverfront Times, who's Zorich's attorney, he said, quote, "This is an example of police overreaching and using excessive force to get a family out of their house." And not only that, but when she came home after being arrested after going to the police station, the whole entire house had been turned upside down and literally destroyed. She said beds were overturned, items that were on her shelves thrown to the floor. The place was completely trashed. Armed thugs. That's what they are. Armed paramilitary thugs. You want to talk about thuggish behavior? You want to talk about having a war against poor people? This is a literal war against poor people. If you can't afford your utility from a private company, which a lot of these natural gas companies, electric companies, they're not nationalized. Most of them are run for profit. And I'm not sure if that's true in this case, but in a lot of cases it is. And you have civil statutes, city statutes, right? Where if you break this city statute by not being able to afford your electricity bill, that turns into a criminal infraction. And that leads to, of course, what is that what we call that? Well, there are several different things that we call that, actually. It leads us back to poor people, debtors' prisons, as well. Not having enough money is considered a crime. Not being wealthy enough to afford basic utilities, which are very expensive, can be very expensive for a struggling family. That's a crime. What's happened to America when we allow stuff like this to happen? What happened to America? What happened in the land of the free? It's now the land of the corporation. It's now the land of people who are most imprisoned. And stuff. And it's the home of the land where stuff like this happens on nearly a daily basis to those who are the least vulnerable. That's the reality of the America that we live in today, and it needs to stop.